storyteller, Bailey Swilley.
Thank you. So I have never wanted to have kids. Not when I was a kid, and not now that I'm a baby. This was never an issue for me. Like, I kind of coasted through life with this fact, and it was never a big deal until I got married. And all of a sudden, everyone in my life wants me to have a baby. My friends, my neighbors, my family, especially my grandmother. And I begin to kind of question myself. All of this questioning from the people around me makes me question myself. And so I start poring over child-free books. Okay, book. And I become obsessed with child-free TikTok. I'm gonna, like, just a little side, child-free TikTok, I used to think it was kind of like unnecessary, like a straight pride parade. But now I get why we need this community. So anyway, during this time, I also need to get my IUD replaced. So I go and I go and I see my gynecologist, and she takes some pliers, and she yanks it out. She yanks it out. She does not remove it, she yanks it, and then she holds the pliers with the IUD up to my face. And I'm like, "Bleh!" And she's like, "It's missing a piece." And I'm like, "Is that normal?" And she's like, "No, it only happened one time and we never found it." So I'm like, cool. So I leave her office. I go back to TikTok and look this up. I also Google it. And I find that it is possible that the piece of the IUD can kind of like lodge itself into your uterus, and one way to remove it would be like surgically. This is all like a possibility, right? We don't know for sure this is what's happened to me, but this is what could happen. And then all of a sudden I'm realizing, like, oh my God, this is my punishment for not wanting kids, right? I thought that this information maybe would make me feel relieved. And then I'm like, well, if I'm relieved, I might feel guilty for being relieved. And then I think maybe if I feel like this thing is taken away from me, maybe I'll really want it. So anyway, I have to go to an ultrasound. I don't know if any of you have had an ultrasound in your reproductive parts, but it is exactly like having sex with a robot. You'll just have to find out. Anyway, I have to go see a specialist, and the specialist walks in, and with her she has a camera, a large plastic bag, several tools, and a big needle. And she kind of looks me in the eye and she's like, "Hey, so here's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna dilate you, and then we're gonna pull out the piece." And I'm like, okay, fabulous. I think I'm being a little bit naive. So I lay on the table, and immediately they put a plastic bag underneath me, so I know this is not a good sign. She takes the duck lips, and she does the cranking, and in goes the camera. And she's like, "All right, we're ready to rock." And I'm like, "Yeah, girl." So the camera's in. And then she's like, "Oh my God, we forgot to do the anesthetic." So if you've never had a needle put in your cervix before, it's not like the COVID shot, So she warns me, she's like, "Hey, we're gonna put in the anesthetic, and there's gonna be a lot of rushing." And again, I'm like, fabulous. I don't ask her what rushing means. I'm just like, okay, cool, I'm ready for anything. And So she sticks the needle in, and immediately there's like this almost paralyzing cramp feeling, just like my whole body is taken over with a cramp. And then my heart starts racing like faster than I've ever felt my heart race. And then I don't ever like do drugs, so this was really intense for me. And my whole body just like starts wildly like convulsing, shaking. And I'm looking at her like, oh, this was the rushing, I get it. So, okay, so she, so that's the rushing, and she's like making this face, like she can't find it, right? And so I just decide to like dissociate, right? And I'm thinking like, I'm gonna just look at my phone. And so on my phone are all these pictures of like people celebrating Christmas, it's the holidays. And I realize in that moment, like, I don't ever want to dress up my kid in Christmas clothes. I don't ever want to go tour colleges. I don't want to pay for college. I don't want to pay for private school. I don't want to teach anyone how to drive. I don't want to help anybody with their homework. I don't want to watch anything on Disney Plus. I don't want to see anything on ice ever. I do not want to be a child. I mean, I do not want to be a parent. I do want to be a child. I am. So anyway, I come to this decision like I don't want to be a parent. I know that I have to release everybody's expectations of me. And in that moment, she looks at me and says, aha, it was here all along. It came out with the gunk. Thank you.
One more time for Bailey, that Bailey. Wow. Yes.